Well, don't look now, but a $4 XRP could be coming shortly because the next 2 weeks is painting a pretty picture for XRP. And in today's video, I'm going to be covering some of the new analysis, both price and on-chain analysis that actually points to that short-term prediction. And in other crypto news, I'm actually going to be talking about a few other altcoins, including some that are actually taking some business from Ethereum. And I'm also going to talk about Ethereum, and other than the price movement, what's actually happening behind the scenes. A major headline just came out about a major investment firm that did the unthinkable to a beloved asset, and then what they did with Bitcoin. Plus, we now have 3 major city mayors taking their salaries in Bitcoin. Gonna talk about all that in this video. Hey everyone, my name is Randy and welcome back to the Late Night Grind. Right now on this channel, I'm covering the Ripple versus the SEC case, as well as other cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if you want to follow along with any or all those topics, make sure you subscribe to the Late Night Grind. And make sure you hit that bell notification icon so YouTube will notify you when I release a new video. And as always, if you're feeling generous, I'd really appreciate it if you do 2 things. Number 1, smash that thumbs up button. And number 2, watch this video all the way to the end. Those are the 2 best things that you can do when you want to support a YouTube channel. So if you do that, I greatly appreciate it. All right, guys, let's jump into it. So we have not 1, not 2, but 3 major city mayors now saying they will take their salary completely in Bitcoin. The newly elected mayor of New York City has said he wants to take his first 3 months of salary completely in Bitcoin. Well, not to be outdone, the mayor of Miami said he's taking his salary completely in Bitcoin. And not wanting to be left out, the mayor of Tampa Bay is now going to be taking salary in Bitcoin. And in a major investment market news headline, I saw that the Jefferies Group, which is a big investment firm that handles over $440 billion, just did the unthinkable to gold, which is they actually sold gold to buy Bitcoin. Now, somewhere Peter Schiff is having a heart attack because I see this happening more and more, especially as we move into the spring and into next year. So the Jefferies Group actually announced that they bought Bitcoin back in December of 2020. That was a pretty good decision because since it is pretty much 10x since then. Well, they've recently announced that they sold gold to buy even more Bitcoin, and now nearly 5% of their holdings is in Bitcoin. Christopher Wood, who is the head of global equity strategy over there, made the decision to do it because he said gold holders should absolutely be looking at Bitcoin as a competitor to gold. And not only that, he said they're actually doing it because he says Bitcoin enables a global monetary system. Now, that would be blockchain as a whole. Personally, I don't think it's specific to just Bitcoin, but it certainly fits that mold. And not only that, if you're actually holding gold, then you know that gold miners actually dump an additional 2% of gold onto the market every single year. And in fact, that's increasing. Whereas Bitcoin, there's a capped supply. So the scarcity is going to continue to rise. All right, now I want to talk about some of the altcoins that are making some big moves. Number 1 specifically is VeChain. This is one that I mentioned on my channel quite frequently for the past 3 or 4 months. Now VeChain seems to be making some big moves, and it's not necessarily in correlation with Bitcoin. It has a little bit of a decoupling effect, unlike some others. But I wanted to bring it up in this video because just the other day, it recently broke out of a trend and broke past a 15-cent resistance level, which has been at resistance for a couple of months now. It passed 15 cents, went up to 16 cents. Now it's sitting at about 15 and a half as I'm making this video. But it's definitely showing a little bit of a decoupling from Bitcoin, but it still shows incredible bullish momentum heading into the end of the year. Also wanted to talk about Solana, which continues to do well. It set new all-time highs the other day, over $250 from $1.51, which it was on January 1st. And since its all-time highs pulled back a little bit as profit taking and a little more accumulation is actually taking place. Some of the predictions are $800 to $1,000 for Solana by the end of the year, but we're going to see. But one of the big factors that I wanted to bring up Solana is not just its price movement, but actually some of the on-chain data that shows that Solana's active wallets are increasing dramatically. Active wallets and new wallets are actually trending upward, as well as transaction volume on the Solana network. Now, Solana and Cardano have been considered competitors of Ethereum for a long time. So when we take a look at Ethereum, well, what's happening? Well, of course, the price is continuing to go up because people like miners are earning all-time revenues mining Ethereum, and Ethereum holders, of course, want to continue to hold it and not sell, much like people who hold Bitcoin. However, some of the on-chain data doesn't reflect nearly as well as what Solana's is, and even Cardano and some of the smaller ones for that matter, like Polygon and Harmony. Because Ethereum had its all-time high in new and active addresses back in May, right before the Bitcoin 50% flash crash, and it hasn't really recovered since. It's increased, but it seems over the last couple of months it's been trending downward in terms of new addresses, active addresses, and transaction volume on Ethereum. Not necessarily transaction volume in dollars, because as the Ethereum price goes up, that's going to go up naturally. But Ethereum just doesn't seem to have that same bullish momentum from on-chain dynamics as some of these other platforms. Ethereum is still the dominant force in the ecosystem world, but you have to look at Solana, Cardano, Harmony, Polygon, and I think there's a few other, and I think there's a few other smaller ones that are going to be taking some of that retail money, some of that speculative money away from Ethereum as we go into the end of the year. So now I'm going to look at why a $4 XRP within the next 2 weeks was actually speculated by a writer at AMD Crypto, and I'm going to talk about some of the analysis that actually points to it. But before I do that, I wanted to mention something that I mentioned on Twitter the other day, and I believe I briefly mentioned in one of my other videos. There's a video that was put out by Blockchain Backer that talks about all the price suppression that the SEC case has actually put on XRP over the past year. He goes through a very thorough technical analysis, forensic analysis versus from what happened to some other coins versus XRP during the same time frames, and digs even a little bit deeper, connecting the dots behind the scenes in terms of the news, in terms of what was going on behind the scenes, which he usually doesn't do in his videos. He just strictly sticks to some technical analysis. But I will link that video in the description below. You can go and take a look at it. It is very big, and it's one of those things that the XRP army continues to try and push and get Congress to actually look at some of the shadiness that was actually going on behind the scenes regarding the SEC and how they gave Ethereum its free pass, and then what they did with their competitor XRP, and the price suppression is absolutely real. So go ahead and check that out after my video here. So taking a look at short-term $4 XRP, how is it going to get there in 2 weeks? Well, if you look at the daily and weekly candles of the XRP chart, it's been looking incredibly strong for several months now, and right now it's looking even stronger. And in fact, recently it broke out of a trend, and usually when that happens, it's very bullish. Now in this analysis, it was also noted that XRP just recently passed its 20-day EMA, which is a very bullish sign for a short-term price increase. And it reviews also the Elliott waves, which right now XRP seems to be jumping into that fifth wave, which if you've watched any analysis on stocks and cryptocurrencies, some people talk about Elliott waves, which is a wave theory about when prices go up and down. XRP seems to be entering that 5 wave, which is typically one of the biggest waves in that model. And not only that, it matches up with some of the Fibonacci extensions, which is kind of the same thing, but it's another tool to use analysis on possible future prices that also point to a short-term $4 XRP. And what I liked about this analysis was that it also points to some on-chain data, which so many people that I watch technical analysis do, they completely leave out, and I don't agree with it. I think you have to look at the on-chain analysis to really see what's going on under the water and see what is actually driving those price movements. That, along with news and market cycle analysis, you need to keep on top of all of it. But with XRP, things continue to look bullish from an on-chain standpoint. As I pointed out in one of my previous videos, the use of the on-demand liquidity system, which is Ripple's basically system of banks using XRP, has 25x'd year to date. 25x, 130% month over month growth of XRP. And people say, well, how comes Ripple has all of this bullish news, all this usage of XRP? Why is the price not exploding, and why it hasn't exploded yet? Well, keep in mind, back in the summer, XRP was 50 cents. Now it's $1.15 to $1.20. So it certainly has had its movements, but I can go back to the Blockchain Backers video to show you all the price suppression that the case against the SEC actually had. But nonetheless, all of this analysis really does point to a very, very strong end of year for XRP. The only thing this analysis said that could hinder that was social engagement. And I thought that was kind of strange, because the XRP army is one of the strongest, most socially engaged and socially connected cryptocurrency crowd online. He must have not been on Twitter or YouTube very much, because those social places are loaded with information about what XRP is doing. So I'm kind of not believing him there. And the other thing too is, once Ripple wins this case against the SEC, which I believe they will, they have all the advantages in the world, that will be the biggest announcement in the cryptocurrency world probably in the last 10 years. It will be the only cryptocurrency with complete and total clarity as to its regulatory status. Do you know how many banks and institutions are actually waiting to jump in and use XRP because of that case? I'll refer you back to the Blockchain Backers video once again. It's all shaping up for very bullish momentum for XRP coming up in Q4 and possibly into the spring of next year, depending on the SEC case, depending on what Bitcoin market cycles do. You're going to want to stay on top of it. So if you want to do that, make sure you keep watching the Late Night Grind. I'm covering this stuff on a daily basis. But once again, I want to thank you for watching all the way to the end of this video and for giving it a big thumbs up. And as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.